Hello everyone, it's me Clayton. I just finished watching Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, the latest Disney Plus original movie. And when it comes to the amount of reboots when it comes to our classic cartoon characters, some beloved, some loathed, I'm kind of surprised that this one ended up not only as a modern day version of Roger Rabbit, not just because Roger Rabbit makes a cameo in it, but also because it happens to rival Space Jam 2 and New Legacy when it comes to the amount of cameos we get from not only Disney characters, but characters from all walks of animation. Everything from claymation to stop motion characters to motion capture like Polar Express to traditional animation to CG versions of classic characters, etc., etc., etc. Let's get to the story, shall we? In a world very similar to Roger Rabbit, where cartoon characters are actors playing characters in cartoons, Chip and Dale, played by John Mulaney and Andy Samberg, are coming back in the modern day for what they believe to be a new reboot of their series. Well, Dale believes it. Chip is working as an insurance salesman. But when one of their buddies, Monterey Jack, ends up being captured and being sent to a reboot facility, well, a bootleg facility, that'll have him be sent overseas to be sold as a bootleg version of himself. Chip and Dale have to solve a case for real, as they have to find out who's responsible for the bootleg operation and what the person's motives are when it comes to making bootlegged versions of these beloved classics. So yeah, this is a pretty meta movie. Meta in the sense that Disney is literally making villains out of those who make bootleg versions of their films. It's kind of one of the only ways that they can make Disney look like the good guys here. But in many respects, I do kind of see how this is the logical conclusion when it comes to this kind of meta humor. Especially when it comes to the main antagonist, played by Will Arnett. Yes, you do remember seeing that overweight version of Peter Pan in the trailers, and that's because Will Arnett plays him, and he is definitely a pretty savage takedown when it comes to both the original actor who played Peter Pan and also of the animation industry at large. I don't know if it's in poor taste, but Will Arnett is hilarious in the role. And so are his various henchmen, especially Seth Rogen, who plays this Viking who is basically deliberately designed to look like the motion capture animation from Robert Zemeckis' time on the Polar Express. He's very uncanny valley on a very intentional level. And it's funny that he's voiced by Seth Rogen, considering that his version of Pumbaa appears in the movie for a quick cameo as well. Not only that, but there are characters from several other companies that are involved here. Even the terrible Sonic design from the Paramount film that's included for many pot shots that had his terrible design. The My Little Pony characters show up for a quick cameo. Voltron, He-Man and Skeletor, the Transformers, even a few anime characters. It's kind of nuts when it comes to how much intellectual property is in the movie, but at the same time it doesn't feel like it overloads the actual plot. Much like Roger Rabbit, it feels like these characters are sort of just a nice way to add rewatch value to the film. And while the writing and storyline aren't nearly as good as Roger Rabbit, at least not in my opinion, and I'm sure most people feel the same way, it still ultimately feels like a pretty fun, savage meta film when it comes to its comments on the animation industry as a whole, and Disney especially. That it happens to mock various aspects of the industry as well as celebrate them. And it also has J.K. Simmons as a silly putty cop, so there's that too. It's basically one of those films that you're going to love or hate, and it's definitely one of the oddest creations made by Disney Plus so far. But considering the other stuff that's available on the streaming service, I definitely got a lot out of it. The humor's really good. The arc that Chip and Dale have actually does feel like it would fit in a typical Chip and Dale episode. And it even has a lot of some of the cast members returning to play their iconic roles, like Tress MacNeille as Gadget. So I ultimately had a lot of fun with it, and I think fans of Chip and Dale might get a lot out of it too. That's why I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. See you next time.